became flesh and the Creator became a creature, it meant for God to empty himself of those powers which man cannot share with him. Look at somebody and say, when the Word became flesh, God had to come down to the knowledge that a man may have. God had to come down to the possessions that a man may possess. God had to humble himself. God had to limit himself and get to where he could be tempted and suffer and die. Because if God had not placed himself into that position, then the incarnation would have only been an imitation. If the incarnation was to be genuine, God had to do more than veneer himself with human nature and hide his godhood behind the face and body of a man. If the incarnation was to be real, God had to become flesh, and this he did in the person of Jesus Christ. Can I go a little further? Somebody said go ahead on then. Throughout John's gospel, amen, the humanity and the divinity of Jesus are both presented. He references Jesus's anger at money changers in the temple, the fact that he was physically tired at the well of Samaria, that he hungered, that he knew grief, and that he wept tears at Lazarus' tomb, that he demonstrated all of the outward expressions of humanity. Yet John stresses pre-existence in chapter 8 of his gospel, verses 5 through 8, by recording Jesus saying, before Abraham was, I am. Say amen. In John 17, he records Jesus talking of the glory that he shared with the Father before the world was. John in his gospel speaks time after time of Jesus coming down from heaven, which are expressions of his divinity. John saw in Jesus one who had always been even before the world began. So John begins his glorious gospel by stating, in the beginning was the Word. The Greek word logos, which actually we get the English word logic from, the mind and reason of God.
One church in 2 locations. The New Spirit Revival Center is located at 3130 Mayfield Road in the city of Cleveland Heights and 1061 Clearview Avenue in the city of Akron. Join us for anointed praise and worship and a powerful life-changing word. Join Doctors Darrell and Belinda Scott and the New Spirit Revival Center. For more information, log on to nsrcministries.org. New Spirit Revival Center, the church for you.
Understood the connection between mind and word, between thought and speech. John knew the combination of the two constituted the essence of being, because how many of you know that everything you do and everything you say begins as a thought? He said, in the beginning was the Word. The beginning of John's gospel presents John's great thought that Jesus is none other than God's creative and life-giving Word, that Jesus is the power of God which created the world and the reason of God which sustains the world come down to earth in human bodily form. Ride with me, I'm gonna bless you after a while. He said that the Word is not a created thing, that it was there, it existed before creation. Somebody say, I know that's right. He said that the Word is not part of the world which came into being in time. He said the Word is part of eternity and was there with God before time and the world began. But then he goes on to say that the Word was God. Can I break it down a little deeper? See, some have difficulty with this statement because of the limits of their comprehension, but I'll attempt to do it some justice. See, the Greek language in which John wrote had a different way of saying things from the way we speak in English. When Greek uses a noun, it almost always uses the definite article with it. Can we take a quick English class? See, a definite article is a figure of speech that identifies or defines the noun that it modifies, such as the word thee. The word thee is a definite article. It clearly identifies and defines the noun. sound like the book or the horse or the car. Now the Greek word for God is theos, and the definite article is whole. When Greeks speak about God, it does not simply say theos, it says hotheos, and has reference only to the Father. When Greek does not use the definite article with a noun, then the noun becomes much more like an adjective.